Well, good afternoon, Whisperers, and welcome into our post show. I am Sonya LaRae, your host. I'm a lifestyle relationship counselor, fashion psychologist, holistic health and wellness consultant, educator, and motivational speaker. I have to tell you, today's discussion was beautiful. I am ecstatic that I really got to have this topic today. And, I know so many of you all had no idea how powerful this topic was going to be. And literally, that personal growth through adversity. I have to tell you, this was a conversation that really sat in a deeper space and place for me personally today. That when I really started to get into the discussion and what I wanted to birth from it was something so dynamic. Sometimes when we, as the creators of our shows or different topics that we get to really pour into, we don't realize, like, sometimes I don't realize how powerful they really can be. And today's topic was one of those ones that actually hit a high note from the beginning, like right from when the introduction and that meaning of what we were going to be talking about today. So, all the time I tell you that everything that I do and everything that I bring forward has clear intention. And so it's always that it has a clear aim, purpose, and direction. And I'm honored to be used as a conduit for this discussion to really kind of build upon all the natural nuances we need to be diligent individuals, for us to build that adversity, over all of these different things, that we triumph over trials. So I'm excited. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you in here with me today. April the Lovologist is in the spot. So it's really nice to have you here. So, today's discussion was really about, that personal growth through adversity. And like I said, from the beginning of our discussion, it really took shape quickly. Because if you think about it, we got a definition today that, reverberated in such a powerful tone. So, if you didn't get to hear the show, and it was live today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on our home network at blogtalkradio.com/whispers in a bottle, I always open up our discussions with a clear meaning or a definition, and it's never any different. I always make sure that I do that because I wanted to resonate with you all in a different manner, a different way. And so today I gave the definition or the meaning of personal growth. So, when I gave that definition, it hit. It hit such a note that it was like, wow. So, the definition I gave for that was the process of an individual becoming aware of self, addressing behaviors, attitudes, values, actions, and habits one wishes to change. Now, you can't tell me that definition right there is not pure fire. You can't. Because if you said that it wasn't, I would be like, there's something wrong here. Because it literally was. And it also made me think, like, after I was talking and we wrapped our show and everything, it made me think of a great quote that Albert Einstein said. And I don't know if many of you have heard it. And if you have, that's great. But if you hadn't, it says that adversity introduces a man to himself. Now, look at that. You hear that? Adversity introduces a man to himself. And see, in this whole discussion, we got to sit in a place and a space of reflection. We really got to sit in that space where we were going to grow throughout this whole dynamic topic. And so it was to really have how adversity or those challenges serve as a catalyst to propel us into greatness, to propel us to be able to step across different challenges that we face, different challenges that we feet. But it is. Yes, our personal stories come forth with fire and seriously express lessons for others. You know what? I'm going to put that comment on the screen because I feel people need to really see that. And I love that, what you had stated, because yes, they are those lessons and those personal stories that triumph over trial, that give us that ability to really kind of step in and step up. So sometimes when I'm in a place of developing conversations like these topics hit very different. Because if you think about it, the day and age that we are living in currently, there is so much that is going on a daily. If you turn on your television and the news, and it doesn't matter what city you live in, I happen to live in a very big city. And every day we're hearing about different ones being shot and killed, loved ones being lost. We came through this pandemic and thousands and thousands and thousands of people died from COVID. So, in turn, this ability to be able to embrace adversity. Now, that word embrace is very powerful in itself, too. Because, see, when we embrace something, it means that we're going to hold it close to us. It means that we're going to kind of nurture it and wrap it into our arms or press it close to us. And so sometimes when we embrace adversity in a way that is going to be that catalyst for change, or how we're going to have it resonate here in the brain and in our heart, it has to be embraced in such a way that allows us to grow. And sometimes people, unfortunately, get tripped up on the small parts of it. They constantly go into that cycle, and it always is like almost a wash cycle, that it kind of gets into that same cycle over and over again. And for us to break those patterns, we have to be willing to, you know, define resilience. We have to define it more for ourselves, even. And so I was looking at it and I was thinking, like, that's the ability to bounce back from setbacks. That's that ability to recoil. And it made me think about snakes. Now, mighty experience of that is like a rattlesnake. A rattlesnake will coil and strike, but then it has to coil again and it strikes. But if you look at vipers, vipers can strike and coil so quick that it doesn't give the person the opportunity or their prey an opportunity to get away. And so, in turn, when we really start to learn how to personal growth over adversity, we get to start to coil and strike with a clear definition, a clear purpose. And I always speak about that clear intention, having intention. Intention is on aim, purpose, and direction. And so, thinking about this as adversity, for us to triumph over trials, we have to be willing to really kind of sit in that space and place of reflection. We have to sit in a place that is deeper than surface. And sometimes people think they're going in deeper or asking themselves those really, hard, thought provoking questions. And unfortunately, they've actually just hit a ripple on the water. That's it. It's just a ripple. It's not even in the shallows yet. It's just a ripple that they get to. And because that ripple has an effect and it kind of goes out, it makes them have a fear and it gets them to step back off of the edge so they can get into the deeper water to be able to face trials over triumphs. See, I was thinking about even with some people that we know that are celebrities and different ones that have come through different things. And even you may have people in your life that have faced some major trials and they've come over these trials in such profound ways that you're just kind of like blown away and you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, how is that? How were you able to really kind of get over this? Because this is such a major setback. And I say to you, Well, today it's a major setback. Tomorrow it'll be a major accomplishment. Now, I know some of you have probably heard that or even maybe have experienced that. And sometimes when we experience things or people say things like that, we kind of look at them like, what? Because, see, what we don't realize is that they have been able to shift the narrative in the story. They have developed a huge way of looking at the silver lining in the grayest of clouds. And see, for us to be able to have that personal growth through adversity, it requires that we as people start to shift our perspective. Start to really see that silver lining in a different way. See, a lot of times for me, I find it easy to be able to shift in certain elements, even things that I don't know or haven't faced in my life before. I have a way of being able to sit in a space and a place of reflection. And sometimes it requires me to just step back and step out. And sometimes as people, we don't want to do that. We just want to keep pressing and pressing and pressing. But sometimes it requires of us to step back and step out so we can get the full picture. So we don't just get stuck on the tree, as they say, but we can go on to see the forest. And so it requires certain things of us to be able to build resilience. And resilience is something that just doesn't happen overnight. And I said in my discussion in the pre-show that it is an action. So it requires something of us. It requires of us to be in an active mode to be able to build resilience. It means that it requires of us to have an actionable plan inside of our minds. It means that we have to develop those small nuances that maybe we have maybe been shrinking back from. And sometimes we don't even know it because we never have faced certain things, or maybe that's been our pattern is to just get up and turn tail. Well, no, that's not it. So it made me think like, what key points do I want to tell you guys to take away from this? What key elements did I want in our discussion for it to be with you even after this is said and done? And so, of course, the first one we talked about just now was that resilience. And even I thought about the families that have faced such trials in Maui and having that horrible fire. One of the family members stated, "Oh, we are resilient. We are like the waves of the ocean, and we fall and we come back and we fall and we come back. But in that way, we still are like that tree of dynamics that we will stand and we will come back together as a community, stronger." Because the second element I want you to take away from it is support. Each one of those families on that island or from that island have supported each other. Each one, even though their property was gone, they came with leis to give to the next family to show that they love and they see them and they are with them and their hearts are moved in that same space. So sometimes as people, that's what we have to have is a support system. And your support system has to be healthy. It can't be a support system that does not have an alarm system in it, that it is no warning that is given or sounded. And that is what happened to the community there in Maui. The support system failed them. And so, in turn, as people, when we are looking at this dynamic quality, we have to have support systems that aren't going to fail. We're not going to have a support system that turns tail and runs because something happens or they fine you to death. You're okay, you're fine. And all along the way, you're falling to pieces, and you just need somebody to reassure you and shore you up that this way you will be fine. So it requires that you have to even audit that support system. It means that even if you have smoke detectors, you have to test them. You have to change the batteries. You have to go about it in a different way so you have the clear warning system. And so that's what we have to do when we're thinking about our support systems, which also follows into your next takeaway. I talked about self-discovery. What you realize is that the concept of self-discovery through adversity, it's a situation that can force us to confront our values, our beliefs, our priorities. And sometimes we have to be willing to sit in that space and place, that we sit in that reflection and that self-discovery of how are we or where are we? Because sometimes we need that. And sometimes you have to sit there and look into self a little more. Maybe you have a personal growth story that you've had and you've never shared it with someone who really needed to hear it. Maybe at that time of their trial that they're going through, you may have faced something so similar, but because of fear, you hold back. But sometimes we have to be willing to pour out. We have to be willing. And in that place and space, we get to learn how that self-discovery starts to develop. So sometimes it requires of you to sit in a place where you're meditating, or you have to sit in a place where you can journal, so you can tap into a deeper essence of self. See, this whole discussion today was one that should have made you want to reflect. It should have made you want to step up and step into that new way. It also should have opened up to you that empathy and compassion you must show to yourself. It's not always that you have to give it out. Sometimes it requires of us to show that to ourselves. And that's the biggest challenge that some of us face. Because we can drag ourselves for a month of Sundays. But when it comes to empathy and compassion, it could be a little, it could be poured out little by little. So we got to be mindful of that. See, I always say that we get to come in and we get to build on these things. And we get to do these things that we are so conscious of. Beware, you must get healthy support systems so you can recognize the unhealthy. So yes, that is a true fact. That's fact right there. Because this is the thing. You may think your support system is healthy. You may think the alarms are working. And then lo and behold, when something really happens, it's not there. It doesn't work. It doesn't come through. So we have to be mindful of those things. And sometimes it requires of us to audit our support system. Because sometimes that's what it is, that we have to audit it and we have to be willing to say, this is not, it's not going to be healthy for me. This is not for me. So, this season is really birthing some beautiful discussions. I am so excited over it. I can't even begin to tell you guys that every time we get to come in and we get to do something so different and so dynamic that it pivots people's mindsets, their hearts, and everything. it's a joy for me. And I love being able to pour into it. Um, I've always been one that have wanted to always give from a genuine space and place. And I think a lot of times that as I think on different things that I think could help people or things that I feel that can build on our community, I'm always so honored to be able to come in and do these different discussions, to birth these topics with you, to connect with you in such an intimate way. So I'm so happy that we're here together. We're doing some dynamic things, and we have been really having things built out in such a way for us this season that, like I said, we have now a pre show that we do, and it's on the Wisdom app. And if you're not on Wisdom, I would love for you to DM us on our Instagram page the word wisdom, and we will send you our personal link to invite you to join the Wisdom app with us so you can do the pre show, because each show is different. What you get on our pre show, you're not getting here on the post show. And what you get on the post show is definitely nothing that you get in the live, because I want to give you different elements of our topics. I want to come in and have it vibrate and resonate with you in a different way, because different tones are what we need so we can take away the key elements of our discussions. So this way we can start to build the necessary key elements out of our life and out of our circle and everything that we bring forward. So it behooves us as Whispers in a Bottle, and I'm your host, to really bring forth something that I know that will vibrate at the decimal that you need. And sometimes it has to vibrate at a higher decimal so it can connect and so it can resonate and sit in a place and a space that we can receive. So, guys, I am always honored to be here. I look forward to connecting with you guys. You know that you can follow us on Instagram at whispersinabottle_podcast. Don't forget, you can join our page at Facebook, on Facebook at facebook.com/whisper in a bottle. And tune in every Friday at Whispers in a Bottle, at blogtalkradio.com/whispers in a bottle, because that's our home base. We love it. We're always there. And don't forget, you have got to subscribe to our brand new journal. It's been relaunched. It has a new look, new vibe, has a new segment in there called Ask Sonya LaRae. You can send your questions in to me, and they will be featured inside of the journal. And then what we decided to do, that certain questions that are so good, we're going to have a show that is dedicated to those questions that are like, we're going to put them in a top 10 category. And we're going to do that in mid-season of this season, even because there are some questions that I feel need to be birthed on the radio and shared with more people as well. So if you have questions, please feel free to send them in at asksonyalarae@yahoo.com. And we'll be in there. I'll be in there answering your questions and everything else. So I look forward to connecting with you all and answering your questions. And don't forget to come back here every Friday at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But for now, everyone, tomorrow is the first day of fall. Let me show you what I got going on here. A little mocktail. See the cup? It says, hello, fall. I'm falling into it all the way. And this is so delicious. I have to tell you, I love it. So, with that being said, everyone, my name is Sonya LaRae. I'm a lifestyle relationship counselor, fashion psychologist, educator, holistic health and wellness consultant, and motivational speaker. But by far, I'm always honored to say that I am your host of Whispers in a Bottle, Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with somebody who needs to hear this information. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Take care.